all those months led up to this very point. And I'm so excited to finally share that with you. If you haven't already seen the BTS behind that, make sure you check out that video, which I'll link right up here. Thank you all for participating and voting for this community-wide video that we did together. It's super exciting. And just in case you missed out, I do want to do something like this in the future. So I'll go ahead and link all my social media. Make sure you are following me on all that, so you're up to date with whatever's going on in this channel. And I do have a giveaway going on for both this YouTube channel and for my Instagram. So make sure you check those all out. So Lords of Hellas can seem very, very complicated, but I'm going to break it down as simply as I can today. I actually haven't released a tutorial in 3 months. So in that time, I've been thinking a lot about how I want to break down my tutorials from here on out. And the goal is to just make a video that you just watch one time through. That's it. So that's going to be my approach from here on out. Let me know if you like this new style of tutorials that I'm doing. And yeah, let's get started. So we are setting for the base game and for a 4-player setup. As per usual with almost any game, main board goes in the center. Now next you're going to take these epic monuments, which were of course all in the B-roll, and then you're just going to take the base and then put them on their corresponding regions. So for example, here I have Zeus. So you're going to take the base of Zeus and then put it there. And then you're also going to tuck in the artifact for that specific god underneath the base monument. Now, of course, this is going to change and adapt depending on which gods that you want to put into play. But for here, we're going to use the base game, which is going to be Zeus, Athena, and Hermes. Now, next, you have a couple of different sets of cards. You have the events deck, which is full of monsters and quest cards. You also have monster attack cards. And then you also have combat cards. Now just shuffle these 3 sets of cards and then put them in their labeled spots on the board. So up top, we have the events deck and the monster attack deck. And then on the bottom, we have the combat cards right in the corner with a spot right next to it for the discard pile. You also have 2 sets of artifact cards. So these are neutral artifact cards. You're going to go ahead and shuffle these by themselves and then place them right next to the combat cards. Now the other ones are also monster artifact cards. So go ahead and take these out for now. Now since we have Zeus, Athena, and Hermes, go ahead and take out all their blessing cards and then shuffle them all together. And these goes in the top right hand corner. Next, you're going to shuffle all the temple cards, take one out randomly. And then place the temple standees on each spot with the Oracle of Delphi in the Oracle of Delphi spot labeled right smack on the bottom left of the card. Now, last thing, you're going to draw 7 event cards. If you draw a quest card, you're going to put this card right up top in the quest track, and then you're also going to put the corresponding quest token in the region that's labeled on the top right of the card. So for example, for this first one, I have Saving Prometheus in Macedonia. I'm going to go ahead and put the quest token that says Saving Prometheus in Macedonia. Now sometimes you also draw monster cards. So for example, here I'll draw Cerberus. If you draw Cerberus, you just put the monster card to the side, and then you're going to take the monster mini and then put them in the region that was labeled on the card. So for Cerberus, it's in Epirus or Epirus, just like that. Now, as a quick recap, you are taking the events deck, monster attack deck, blessings deck, combat cards, and artifact decks, shuffling all of those and then putting them in the corresponding spots on the board, making sure that the artifact cards are all neutral artifacts, and then you're going to also separate the monster artifact cards to the side of the board for now. Then, you're going to take the artifacts for each corresponding god, put them in their corresponding region, along with the base of each god that goes right on top of the artifact. And then you're taking a random temple card, putting the temples all across all 8 slots, along with the Oracle of Delphi that goes in the bottom left spot. Lastly, you're going to take 7 event cards, and as you draw them, you're going to resolve them in order. So if I draw a quest card, I'm going to put them along the quest track along the top of the board. And then I'm also going to put the labeled quest token in this corresponding region that is shown on the top right of the card. If you fill up the quest slots, just ignore any other quests that you draw. And if you draw a monster instead, put the monster card to the side for now. And then of course, take these super cool, amazing table presence minis and put them on their corresponding regions on the board. If you draw any other monsters that are duplicates, just ignore them and put them on the bottom deck and then keep drawing until you get 7. Now from there, everyone is going to draw 1 combat card. Make sure everyone knows how many you have. You don't have to show them what it is, but make sure you show the number of combat cards that you have available. And then you're also going to take a help tray. Now these should really be called cards, not trays, because I was actually looking for a tray when I was looking through the instruction manual. But yeah, help trays or help cards. All they do is list the god powers on them, and on the back they also list what the hunt is. At the same time, I would also give each player the player turn action, so these are all summarized together. That way, just in case you forget any of the actions in the game that we're going to talk about right now, you'll have them listed right here. Now, decide who is going first, and the first player is going to choose from one of these 4 armies and then get a bunch of different things. You get their hero board, and then you can choose any army board and then get those corresponding colors of hoplites, priests, control tokens, and rings. The ring is going to go on the hero's base, and then you also get 6 used action tokens. 3 attribute tokens, which we'll all put all at 1 for now. Now, as a side note, I'm using these painted, fancy, mounted heroes because they look 10 times cooler. Look at your hero starting bonus. For Achilles here, I'm starting with a speed of 2, so I'm going to go ahead and move speed right up to 2, just like that. You then take your hero's mini and then 2 hoplites and put it in any region you want. So here, I'll start Achilles off in Arcadia. So a region is one enclosed area in this game. So for example, Arcadia is one region. Elis is a region adjacent to Arcadia. But if you combine all of the green regions, which include Achaia and Messenia, all 4 of those make up one land. Now, if you look next to the region's name, you're also going to see a bunch of different symbols. For now, let's just focus what's on the left of the name. So to the left of Arcadia, we see the number 2 with a little soldier icon. All that means is that you need an army strength of 2 in order to control this region. Each hoplite is worth 1, so since I have 2 hoplites here, that means I meet the requirements of 2, and then I can put a control token right on Arcadia. And that's it for the setup. You're going to go clockwise and then repeat the same thing for each person. You're going to pick an army, you're going to pick a hero with their corresponding hero board, you get an army board, you get 3 attribute tokens, 6 used action tokens, the hoplites, the priests, the control tokens, and then put your hero in any region you want along with 2 hoplites. If you end up controlling that region, put a control marker on there. Boom, 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 done. Okay, I haven't lost you, have I? Because look at this epic board setup. You're telling me after seeing all of this, it's too complicated to play? No way, it's not as bad as it seems. And don't tell me you don't want to play after seeing all this. Now you're like, I know how to set up the game. I know how to start it off. What am I doing on my turn? Let me show you. So as you can imagine, like any other board game, you can move your hero. In order to move your hero though, in this specific case, it all depends on your hero's speed. So for example, Achilles has a speed of 2, which means I can move Achilles 2 spaces in any direction I want. If you land on a space that has a quest on it, for example in Elis, I have clean Augean stables. If you land on a region that has a quest, you can take 1 more movement action and then move them to a quest slot right at the top of the board. But just make sure you're careful before moving your hero up there, because once you move your hero up to the quest slot, it is permanently stuck there until you finish that quest. On top of that, speed doesn't matter anymore once you get up there because you can only move 1 slot at a time. Oh wait, what if I want to move my hoplites, you ask? Good question. Hoplites are different because you can only move them to 1 adjacent region at a time. So I can move 1 of my hoplites from Arcadia to Elis, but then if I want to move more hoplites at a time, that's when the leadership attribute comes into play. So the higher your leadership is, the more hoplites you can move at once. Now since Achilles starts with 1 leadership, I can move 1 hoplite for now, or I can also choose to fortify one of those hoplites by adding them right into the center square, and it says here +1 defense. What that means is it's going to add +1 army strength to this specific region. So initially I had an army strength of 2 from 2 hoplites, but now since 1 is fortified, which is also permanently stuck there by the way, now the army strength total in Arcadia is 3. Now thirdly is the prayer action. So if you have a priest in your priest pool, which actually you don't start out with any priests at all, but once you start getting priests, you can send them to gods to pray. Now, earlier I was talking about how I can only move 1 hoplite to 1 region at a time. Well, if I had higher leadership experience, then I'd be able to move 2 hoplites at a time. So if I had a priest, I would send a priest to Athena. Athena would raise my leadership by 1, and then I'd be able to move more than 1 hoplite to an adjacent region. See how everything's clicking together? Come on. Now, just like when your heroes are stuck at the quest location, if you send priests to a monument, they are also stuck there until someone performs a build monument action, which we will go over very soon. The last action, number 4, is to use an artifact. So we obviously don't start with any artifacts yet, so they won't become relevant until later. However, just know for now that if artifacts are vertical, then they are charged. If they are on the side, it means it has been used and has to be recharged once you do the build monument action. So on your turn, you have 4 available actions for you to use, starting first with hero movement. You can move your hero depending on how much speed you have. So since for Achilles, I have 2 speed, I can move him to 2 other regions. Next, I can also move my hoplites. Hoplites, you can only move 1 at a time. It also depends on your leadership. So for now, my leadership is at 1. If my leadership was at 2, I'd be able to move 2 hoplites to an adjacent region. Or you can also choose to move your hoplite to the fortified region right in the center, which gives your army strength +1 in the region that you are defending, or +2 if you are in Sparta. Thirdly, you can send your priest to raise your attributes depending on which god you want to send it to, right? So each god has a specific attribute that they're going to raise for you. But the thing is, they are stuck there until someone performs a build monument action. And lastly, you can also use artifacts. Again, they are vertical when they are ready to be used. But once you use them, they're going to be switched over to the side and then have to be charged again from a build monument action. Hero movement, hoplite movement, pray, and artifacts. Now make sure you also know that you can perform any of these 4 actions anytime you want, in any order you want. Just make sure you can only perform them once per turn. Now, once you finish all your regular actions, you're going to end your turn by using one of these special actions listed on the bottom left of your player board. And then once you use it, you're going to also put a used special action token right on the slot that you used it on. So first, let's talk about recruit. For the recruit action, you can gain up to 2 hoplites for every region that you control. Let me repeat that one more time. Every region that you control. So if you control multiple regions, then you can recruit up to 2 hoplites per region that you control. Unless it is Sparta. So for Sparta, you can gain up to 4 hoplites in that region all at once. Bonus tip, if you want to save a regular action of a hoplite movement, you can even recruit them directly into a fortified spot. Now next up we have the march action. So remember earlier how I told you can only move 1 hoplite at a time? Well, now you can move legions at a time. So with the march action, you can move as many hoplites as you want to 1 adjacent region. You just can't move the fortified hoplites, of course, because they are stuck in that spot. And if they've already moved from the previous hoplite movement action, that's totally fine. You can still move them using the march action as well. Number 3, for these special actions, you can also build a temple. So if you see this symbol here, which is like a 2-line symbol next to the region name, that means it's a shrine. And at shrines, you can build temples. Why would you want to build a temple? Because when you build a temple, you can add a priest to your priest pool, which you can now send to gods to build up your attributes. See how everything's clicking? How satisfying is it when everything clicks all together and just makes sense and is fun? You're welcome. Now in a specific region called Phocis, you can build something called an Oracle of Delphi. That's special because when you build an Oracle of Delphi, you're also going to get the reward that's listed on the temple card. And then as you're building temples, make sure you check underneath the frame because sometimes they'll have like a red frame listed underneath and it says draft. What that means is you're going to start a blessing draft once someone builds that temple. Okay, so we're going to take the number of blessing cards for each player in the game. So for example, if this is a 4-player game, then I'm going to take 4 cards plus 1. So I'll take 5 blessing cards total. And then I'm going to pick one of those 5 and then pass it around clockwise. Blessings are permanent and they're also going to be visible to every player in the game. So just think of special actions as questions being answered. What if I want more hoplites on the board? Easy, just recruit. You can recruit up to 2 for each region that you control, or if you have Sparta, you can do up to 4. But then what if you want to move multiple legions of hoplites at once? That's okay, then go ahead and use march action. So now you can move all of them to 1 adjacent region. Well, what if you don't want to depend on march and then use up another special action instead? That's fine. Then you can raise up your leadership ability by sending priests to pray. Well, what if I don't have flipping priests? That's fine, because now you can build a temple in any region that has a shrine in it. Bam. Okay, so we have a couple more special actions to cover. Next up is prepare. So prepare lets you heal a single injury on your hero if your hero has been hurt. You can draw a combat card, or you can also recruit 1 hoplite to any region where your hero is. But there is an exception to that. Obviously, if your hero is on a quest, you can't recruit hoplites to the quest that your hero is in. So if your hero is on a quest, you can't recruit hoplites in it. If your hero is also in a region where there are other hoplites in that same region, then you also cannot recruit hoplites there. But if your hero is in a region that is controlled by an enemy player, you can recruit hoplites to that region. So naturally, you're going to gain control over that region because your army strength is higher. Now, all of this counts as the prepare action. You get to choose 2 out of the 3 actions, or you can perform any action twice. So I can draw 2 combat cards, I can heal 2 injuries, or I can recruit 2 hoplites to the region my hero is in. Special action number 5. So number 5 is called usurp. Now usurp, if you have a glory token, and the glory token, by the way, are these little hexagonal tokens that are color coded for each land that they are responsible for. If you have one of these glory tokens, you can automatically gain control of the land that you are in. But remember, the glory token also has to match the color of the same region that you are trying to take control of. And how do you gain glory tokens, you ask? Good question. There are multiple ways throughout the entire game. You'll find them as you go, but you can get them from like quests, and you can even get them from heroes. So for example, for Perseus, his starting bonus is to take 1 glory token in the same region that you start out. Now another special action is to hunt a monster if you're in the same region as that specific monster. So how do monsters show up on the board? Well, remember when we were drawing event cards, that's where monsters are going to come from. So in order to attack a monster, be in the same region, declare that you're using the special action hunt, and then remember the combat cards that you started with at the beginning of the game. Those are the weapons that you're going to be using to attack the monsters. Now on the monster board, you'll see a bunch of tiles, and then each tile has a symbol for a particular weapon. Now let's keep it simple. All you have to do is use the matching weapon to attack them. So let's say I want to attack the Minotaur. Draw 2 combat cards equal to the final attribute that we're going to talk about, which is strength. Since I have 2 strength, I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 combat cards. And then I have to be able to inflict at least 1 wound on the Minotaur, or else the hunt is going to end right away. So I'm going to use 2 of my combat cards and then inflict wounds here and then here. Now the person to the left of me is going to draw 2 cards from the monster attack deck and then choose one of them to play against me. Now in turn, I'm also going to choose to defend by playing any number of monster attack cards with a total value equal to or higher than the monster's attack, and then draw 2 combat cards. Or if I don't have enough, or if I choose not to defend, I then resolve the monster attack card effect just like any other injuries towards me, end the hunt, and then only draw 1 combat card. That's it. Now if the hunt is successful and you put the final wound in the monster, the final nail in the casket, you get Surprise, surprise. Glory token. Then you also pick a reward from an artifact that is linked to this monster. In this case, I have a choice of getting the Minotaur's artifact, or I can also choose a neutral artifact. Now see why we separated the artifacts and the monster artifacts at the beginning? And then lastly, you put the monster's miniature next to your player board. Now the hunt is considered unsuccessful based on a few factors. 1, if you couldn't put any wound tokens on the monster, that's considered unsuccessful. 2, if you receive a 4th injury. 3, maybe you draw one of the monster attack cards and it says to end a hunt right away. Now if it's unsuccessful, you still get an additional injury if you don't already have 4, but you still get to pick a reward based on any of the slots that you manage to inflict wounds on, depending on the symbol that they have. But if you've inflicted an injury on any slots that have a priest symbol or an artifact symbol, then you still get to pick one of those rewards. Okay, honestly, I think monsters might be the most complicated part for me so far, but it's okay. We're gonna break it down one more time. It's your turn. You've gone through your 4 regular actions. It's now time to end your turn by using a special action. So then you declare, I would like to hunt a monster. More specifically, I would like to hunt the Minotaur, which is in the region that I'm in right now. Now, because I have 2 strength, I'm going to go ahead and draw 2 combat cards, and then I inflict 2 damage on the Minotaur, matching whatever symbols that I draw based on my combat card. So if I draw a mace, then I'm going to use the mace card to inflict a mace damage on the monster. If I draw a sword combat card, I'm going to put the sword right where the sword slot is on the Minotaur. Now, the person to the left of me, actually, can you get down here and do something useful for once? So the person to the left of me is going to draw 2 monster cards. Has arrived. Please relax. It's gonna be okay. Then they pick one of those 2 monster cards. I choose the you lose card. There's no such. You're welcome. You're welcome. The dude literally stresses me out. Done trying to break my light bulb. Now I get to defend against the Minotaur by having combat cards that are equal to or greater than the strength of the Minotaur's attack card. Now my attack is still considered unsuccessful because it didn't deal the final wound to the Minotaur, so it has a lot of slots open left. However, I still get to get a combat card and an artifact. But if I was successful and I did deal the final damage to the Minotaur, then it would have gotten a glory token that matched the region that we were fighting in. I would have also gotten a artifact. I would have had a choice between the Minotaur's artifact or a neutral artifact. And then lastly, I get to take the Minotaur and put it on my player board, and that is one more step closer to victory conditions that we'll talk about in a little bit. Building a monument special action, the epitome of all the B-roll. Now these aren't here just to look pretty. Okay, well they kind of are. But either way, they're still integrated pretty well into gameplay. Now if you decide to use the build a monument special action, think of it as like a reset. Any priests that are on the monuments are going to go back to each corresponding player, but they're not going to go back to the priest pool, they're just going to go back to their player board. Now this is actually another way to get priests because for each temple or Oracle of Delphi that you control, you also will get 1 priest added to your priest pool. And that only counts for the person that is using the build a monument special action. So that is building a monument special action. Now right after you use that reset action, there are actually 2 consecutive phases that happen back to back. First is going to be the monster phase. Now first, everyone's going to take the use special action tokens and then remove them off of their player board. So now all the actions are available to use. And then you're going to take your artifacts and then charge them by putting them back up to the vertical position. You then perform the monster phase. So from there, every monster that you have on the board, you're going to roll the monster die. And then a couple of things happen depending on what you roll. Now if you get this fire symbol, it means it's going to be a region attack, which will be listed on the monster tray. Side note, it should really be called a monster card, not tray, because I actually was looking for a monster tray when I first was setting up this game, but nuances. Now this third one with the arrow is the move action, so now the monster can move to any adjacent region that that player decides to choose. And if there are any lingering decisions to be made, then the active player or the person rolling the die gets to choose what happens. And lastly, after the resets and the monster phase, it's going to be the events phase. So the person that built the monument is now going to draw the top card of the events deck and then resolve it from there. If you draw a quest card and all the quest slots are full, then you just put it at the bottom of the deck, and then that's it for that part of the phase. If you draw a monster card, a couple of things happen depending on the state of monsters that's on the board. If the monster is already on the board, then it's going to evolve. So for example, if I draw Cerberus and Cerberus is already on the board, then now Cerberus evolves by putting the monster card tucked underneath the monster tray. Have fun dealing with an evolved Cerberus. But if the monster isn't on the board or anyone's player board, then you do the same thing as you did in setup. So put the monster mini where it's supposed to be on the specific region that is indicated by the card. And then of course put the monster tray out in the middle along with all the other monsters. But if the monster has already been slain by another player, then you're going to take the monster card, put it underneath the events deck, and then draw it again. Now, to summarize all the special actions in which you perform at the end of all your 4 regular actions, they go as follows. One, you can choose to recruit, which means you can get 2 hoplites to wherever your hero is or straight into a fortified region. Or if you're in Sparta, you can recruit up to 4 hoplites at once. Remember, this is for every single region that you control. Number 2, you can march, so you can move all your hoplites to an adjacent region all at once. Remember, if you already moved your hoplites back in the regular actions, it's totally fine to be able to move them again using the march action. Number 3, you can build a temple if your region has a shrine symbol in it, or if you're in Phocis, you can also build an Oracle of Delphi. Either way, just make sure that you take one of the temple standees and put it in that region. And then of course, if you uncover a red frame draft region, make sure you start a blessings draft by picking the number of blessing cards plus 1 player. So if I have 4 players, I pick 5 blessing cards, pick 1 and then pass it around. They stay visible and permanent for the rest of the game per player. Number 4 is prepare, where you can heal 1 injury from your hero. You can draw 1 combat card, or you can also recruit 1 hoplite to the region where your hero is. Of course, if your hero is in the quest slot, you can't recruit there. Or if your hero is in a region where there are a bunch of other hoplites from like enemy players, you also can't recruit there. You can recruit, however, in a region that your opponent controls and it's totally empty, because then you'll take control over it because you'll have more army strength than the opposite player. Remember, for prepare, you can choose up to 2 of those actions and you can duplicate them. So you can draw 2 combat cards, you can heal 2 injuries, or you can recruit 2 hoplites to the region that you're in. The next one is usurp. So remember, usurp is where you can use a glory token, which also has to match the color of the region that you're trying to take control over. But bottom line, you take complete control of that region as long as you use the glory token that matches the color that you're trying to take over. And of course, you can get those glory tokens from either Perseus, his starting ability lets you have that, or you can get it from like quests or like other things from the game. Hunt. Make sure that you are in the same region as the attacking monster, and then of course go through the whole monster attacking sequence. Build the monument. You're literally adding a piece to the monument that you want, Zeus, Athena, or Hermes, whichever one you choose, or whichever gods that you're playing with. Then you're going to take the priests from that monument, reset them back to the players, not the player pool, escape back to the players. And then depending on the number of temples that you currently control, you're also going to gain that many priests depending on how many temples. So if I control 2 temples, then I get 2 priests added to my priest pool. I haven't lost you, right? This is all just review. We've gone over this step by step. Don't make it complicated because it's really not. Now, after each build monument action, don't forget to also reset all of your used action tokens, and then also charge your artifacts. Perform the monster phase by rolling a die for each monster, and then of course resolving the actions depending on what you roll. And then the events phase, where you draw the top card of the events deck and then resolve them from there depending on whether it is a quest or depending on whether it is a monster that is on the board, not on the board, or on someone's player board. Now, if you are still here in this video, thank you, because you have now reached the best part of pretty much any game. The reason why I back any games or buy any games for the most part, and that is for confrontation. Attacking other players in Lords of Hellas. If your hoplites end up in a region where there are other hoplites, battle ensues. Now, if your hoplites start more than 1 battle, the person that is initiating that attack is going to decide the order of which those attacks happen. Now first, your army strength is 1 point per hoplite that you have in that region. And then the defending player is going to choose to play 1 combat card from their hand. Then you can choose to play 1 combat card from your hand, and then it goes back and forth until both players pass. Now remember, once you pass, you cannot play any more cards. But either way, this can only go back and forth 4 times because 4 combat cards is your hand limit. If you ever go above 4 combat cards, you can still draw them, but you have to discard them right away. Now, the only exception to this is for the hunt, where you don't have a limit, but as soon as that's over, drop the hand limit to 4. Now, after you both pass, you just have to start adding up your army strength. Again, 1 point per hoplite, extra points from combat cards, bonuses from any like fortified hoplites, which would be like +1 for a city or +2 for Sparta, as we mentioned before. And then whoever has the most points win. But if you're tied, then the defender wins. And then from there, you're going to kill off your hoplites that participated in the battle according to the number of casualties from the combat cards that you played. Now the loser also has to kill off 1 more hoplite in addition to that, and then withdraw all their hoplites to a neighboring region of their choice, as long as it's not controlled by another player. If that person can't withdraw their units, all of them die, and if the attacker loses the battle, then they also have to withdraw from the region that they attacked from. Lastly, the winner takes control of the region that they just attacked, and then a pairing victory happens if, let's say, you're attacking and you run out of hoplites completely, so you end up with no one in that region. Even if you won the battle, control doesn't go anywhere because you don't have any armies to keep control of that region. So that was battles. Now quests. Quests are easy. So if you look at the quest card, they'll list a requirement for each tier. Your hero has to be in a region where there is a quest token available, and then once they're there, they're going to take 1 movement action to move to the top of the quest track. Despite how much speed your hero has, it doesn't matter. They can only move one step at a time per turn. And then from there, they can't keep moving down until they meet all the conditions from the quest. So a majority of the time, I actually won't even move my hero to the quest track until he can meet whatever is on the third tier of the card. Now, when you get to the last step, you can finish the quest right away and then put your hero back in the region where the quest was. And then you'll go ahead and get the reward at the bottom of the quest card and a glory token where the quest took place. From there, just take out the token from the map. And then artifacts. Think of these as like special abilities. There are these mini cards here, and then of course you have god artifacts and neutral artifacts or priest artifacts. You can use artifacts throughout the entire game, but remember, once you use an artifact once, it has to be charged again by how? Building a monument, you guessed it. But once you use it, it turns horizontally, which means it has to be charged before using again. Oh wait, how do I charge an artifact again? You guessed it. Build a monument, so then you're gonna recharge it by moving it vertically. Once someone performs that action, voila. Now, god artifacts are a little bit different in that you have to control the region where that god is in order for you to obtain that artifact. And then if someone else takes control of that region, you lose that artifact to the other player, which also becomes charged for their use. And how do you win this amazing Lords of Hellas game? Well, there are a couple of victory conditions depending on how many players you have. In a 2-player game, you need to control 3 lands, which again are made up of regions of 1 color. In a 3-player game, you need to control 2 lands. But for a 3 or more player game, these 3 regions in blue don't count towards that victory condition. Second way you can win, you control 5 regions with temples. Third way to win is if you slay 3 monsters. And the last condition is if you control a monument that has been fully built for 3 turns. So let's say you built Zeus's head. You now take the monument activation card and then put 3 of your used action tokens on it. And once you take the last one, you finish a turn and game's over. You win. So that was Lords of Hellas after months and months and months of working on this epic video. If you're still here, I hope you liked it, and I had a ton of fun doing it myself. It was fun doing a community-driven B-roll, and of course doing this tutorial. Like I said, I haven't done a tutorial in like 3 months, so super refreshing. Let me know if you like this style of tutorials, and I'll keep it up. I don't know if it was as drastic as a difference as my old ones, but I hope you liked it. Don't forget to enter the giveaway, which I'll also link down below. Until then, thank you all for joining me, and I will see you all later.